All right, I don't know what to call this because the obvious draw are the recaps, and this is like
It's like a recap review.
review,
So it's like
kind of like a confidential, almost like like a review, kind of like a inner workings, which I think would be fun to do with my buddy here. So.
I miss those confidentials back when David Tennant was still on.
I mean, Smith had them too.
Yeah, I think that's where it died. Was like halfway through Smith.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I only own up to season 6 on Blue, and I have they're on season 6 at least. So. So we are talking about An Unearthly Child, the very first story of Doctor Who, and this is my first time actually watching it all the way through and not falling asleep. So.
That's insane.
You got me into Doctor Who all the way back in like what, 2011 was it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Or was it 2010?
Which is what?
I don't remember.
That's Matt's second run, or is that still his first?
I don't remember. I just remember like you sat me down because you were watching Doctor Who and I was like, what the hell is this? And you said, it's Doctor Who. And I'm like, oh, I've never been able to get into this just because like BBC America doesn't have it, and I didn't know like how to download it, and I was just like, I'm not spending $70 on a DVD set at Barnes & Noble for it.
And then we found out like after watching the BBC version, and then we watched like the BBC America one later, and we saw that like, it was edited. Bits were missing, the stuff were fast forwarded. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
It's weird, and like even to like accentuate that, like on HBO Max, I've been watching them on there, and the frame rate seems like really quickened, and it doesn't feel cinematic because like I'm very picky about my frame rates, and it feels almost like closer to like 30 frames rather than like a true cinema source. I popped in the Blu-ray and it's like a night and day difference. So we've been watching them from that.
It's really bizarre.
But yeah, you showed me the End of Time Part 1 and 2, and having not seen anything with Tenet, I was like, I don't give a f. Okay, sure. Okay, he's not dead.
And there's me just bawling my eyes out. You're like, what the hell's happening here?
But then you were like, do you want to watch the next one? I was like, sure, I don't care. And the difference between Smith and Tennant's runs is like night and day again too. Like it's so different, and it looks really polished, and it's fun. It's a great jumping in point, and that's kind of what got me hooked on it. And that's kind of was I like watched all of Series 5. We caught like Series 6 like when it came out and was live, and I was like, oh man, there is so much Who out there. I went back and watched Eccleston and Tennant, and then I was like, oh man, do I do it? Do I go all the way back to the beginning? And you helped me find some of those episodes. I think you like gave me your hard drive to watch a couple of them on, and whoo boy, I did not make it very far. I think I made it like 2 episodes in.
I'm trying to remember all that now. That's such a long time ago.
I remember we had another roommate who got into it, and like he would just put it on in the background, and he made it all the way to like Doctor 2, I believe. I think he made it like halfway through Doctor 2 before he was just like, I'm done with this.
I mean, it kind of is a bingeable series, the classics, but at the same time, they're not, because they are kind of hard to get through sometimes.
Right. I just didn't really have a whole lot, of like faith and like effort to watch it back then, and kind of getting into it again now and like watching that, like I'm like, oh man, I like really did miss out on a lot of fun stuff. Like not maybe necessarily Hartnell and is it Troughton? Is that his name? I can never pronounce.
That was Troughton.
Troughton. Let's see.
I thought so. Yeah, or we can just go call him Patrick.
Yeah, fake man. Like I kind of got that fun like Twilight Zone vibe, but I never really got the payoff for those. And it wasn't until I kind of skipped forward in my little, testing around and watched a lot of Pertwee, and like the third Doctor really got me good. And I was like, all right, these are some good ones on here, but I only watched like maybe 2 of his stories, but I was still like, yeah, 3's great. Skipped 4 because I was like, nah, I just wasn't feeling it. And I didn't watch any of 5, 6, or 7 because like I think you and other people online told me to stay away from like especially McCoy and like the finale of it. And now kind of looking back at it again and going over it, I'm like, these are weird. I think I might actually really like these. These are stupid. This looks fun. Like, let's do it, you know?
The Sixth Doctor Adventures is different. I mean, the Sixth Doctor in himself is colorful, but yet he's a very kind of mean doctor, which is kind of contradicting to his appearance.
Even the title sequence, like I kind of went through and like looked at everything because I've been buying those Blu-ray sets, and it's just, it's been fun. But let's talk about An Unearthly Child, the first story. What do you think of this serial? What do you think?
So I really enjoy the first episode, but like a lot of the classic Who, it gets bogged down by a lot of just extra content. I think it isn't always necessary, especially like the first episode I thought was a great setup, but then like the second one, it's kind of bored.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
The Cave of Skulls, yeah. I think like pretty much the whole thing could have really been condensed into like 2 episodes. Because I feel like the first episode is very strong. Like that really does like kind of give you that fun sense and kind of hooks you in. You know, it's kind of it's modern day at the time. It's 60s. You know, it's like 60 years ago. But it's modern. It feels kind of fun, and then it takes like that strange turn. And you're like, oh, whoa, what is this turn gonna be? What, like, oh, and then it's like, okay, it's cavemen. All right. And then it's like, doesn't really go anywhere from there. And I feel like where the ending of it, where they, get away by like, faking their death, like a lot of that could have been condensed into just like the Cave of Skulls. Like that could have all been there. Like it felt like they were running and then they come back, then they're going, then they're coming back. Like all of that like inner strife between the tribe could have happened like right there. They all are really like apprehensive to the Doctor and his companions. And then when one of them actually gets hurt and they're tending to them because they get like maybe put in the Cave of Skulls too, like it could show them the compassionate side that they're not used to. Like a lot of that could have been condensed. And I just feel like it was just like kind of running around the whole time.
Well, I mean, with this first serial, it also kind of set up a lot of tropes that continue and stay with Doctor Who all the time. One is constantly running around.
Yeah.
One is the Doctor just end up being in the middle of someone else's business and kind of get involved, getting captured. And with William Hartnell too, kind of we start seeing right away too with his dialogue not always making sense.
Yeah, and that might just be William himself not understanding the source. But yeah.
Well, like in the second episode, The Cave of Skulls, there's a line where William Hartnell kept saying it stinks in here. And after it did some digging, it actually did stink in that scene. All the skulls were real. And under the heat lamps, they ended up started stinking a lot.
Oh, man. That's like kind of like the movie Poltergeist where they use like real bones in the pool scene. Mm-hmm. I'm glad nothing happened to Doctor Who. Maybe it's just taken 60 years to take effect, and now Chinball is getting the brunt of it. But
good Chinballs.
Yeah. But no, I think it's very charming. I think it's like a very small start for the show, which is great. Because moving into the next one, the Daleks, and like that 7-part series that really feels like it goes nowhere the whole time. This one was really nice to kind of like get into it, and I just feel like by like the 4th episode I was just like, can we just hurry it up a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, like with the 4th episode too, we start the end of the 3rd episode and start the 4th episode off with like Cal blaming Za for the murder of the old lady and all that stuff. But as soon as the first episode starts, like 3 minutes in, the whole like Cal convincing the tribe that Za is bad gets gone all right away because the Doctor uses his wits and tricks them. Yeah,
it's almost like a Goosebump chapter ending, like they have the cliffhangers, like, and then all of a sudden there was a giant molten man in my room. Just kidding, it was my father, wearing saran wrap. Like something like that. Like, I feel like when doing the recap on this, doing the narration and like talking about Za and Kal and her, like I felt
I mean, her name was her too, which is weird.
I felt a little crazy kind of going through that and trying to make it make sense. And as I'm like watching it back, I'm like, oh man, this first episode's gonna be rough. We need to kind of get a few of these here before we really start pushing it out to other people so that they're not just turned off by this one.
I mean, with the first episode, I mean, I really did enjoy it despite like the following episodes. I mean, we have, I think, a really cool setup with showing Susan first.
Yeah.
Instead of the doctor, and this having the teachers discussing like what to do with this girl. When we have, as an audience, have no idea what's going on, and as we're watching teachers who are concerned about their student, which, I mean, it's kind of rare as it is these days. But I just thought that was interesting for a 60s show to set that up too, especially showing with a female lead, which I thought was kind of cool right off the bat.
Yeah, 2 female leads.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the what the doctor does in the show, I would almost consider him like the 4th lead. Like I really feel like Ian and Barbara really do take the reins of the early show and kind of have to like watch Susan, and then they're also watching the doctor, like when he comes over with the rock to like kill the dude, and like he's really like, I gotta watch out for this old bastard, he's doing some weird shit.
It's really weird when you consider the fact that this was supposed to be an educational show for kids.
That because that's originally what it was pitched as, was like an educational show to inspire history and like learning of like historical figures and dates, right?
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like that for this whole entire serial. But since, if I remember right, they didn't have any episodes written properly quite yet. Mm-hmm. And at the last minute, they decided to choose the next serial, the Daleks one, because they didn't want aliens initially. And they just so happened to go with that one because they were rushed.
I heard something that they had to reformat this one. Like this was going to be a later serial, but then they reformatted the first episode to kind of fit with this, to make it make sense. Like they end on the prehistoric, era. You said you had some fun like trivia facts about this. Give me your top 3.
Let's see if I can find one. Like I said, this was supposed to be a children's show. I mean, for people who aren't familiar with Doctor Who, this episode aired the day after Kennedy's assassination, so that was a huge hindrance to the show. On top of that, I also saw that England also was going through a sporadic blackout. So not only was there news coverage and a blackout that was covering the first episode of Doctor Who, so it's kind of surprised to see where Doctor Who is huge as it is now with all those hindrances in the past.
That's for them using the skulls. Robert Kennedy got the brunt of that because of Doctor Who.
Oh, that's kind of dark. Especially in the first episode, when Ian and Barbara ended up going through the junkyard. Mm-hmm. There's a cut where you see a statue behind them, and the skull's like caved in. And some people think that's a tip to what's going to happen in the next episode.
Uh-huh.
So I just thought, and I'll bring up the fact that JFK, that's also kind of a weird connection with that caved-in skull plus JFK. That's just a little weird.
You're telling me BBC killed JFK?
Yep, that's what happened.
Okay. All right, well, this has been fun for our first episode. We're probably going to be canceled by the government now, but no, man, yeah, it's been kind of like fun to like think about revisiting all these serials and these stories and kind of just like making a way through it, and then also potentially helping other people either like quickly recap or kind of just watch through if they're not readily available anywhere, because like you can get them on like BritBox, you can buy the DVDs. Some of them are coming out on Blu-ray. I don't think we'll see any of William Hartnell or Patrick Troughton's series on Blu-ray, just because they are missing so many episodes, which like you go on BritBox or wherever, like a streaming service, and they just completely don't have that story. Even if it has like 3 episodes that are there and one's missing, the whole thing's just gone. No telesnaps, no animation. I'm just like, all right, fuck me, I guess. So this will be good to kind of like have and sort of maybe use as a tool for other people. But Has there been any stories or any serials that you haven't watched in Doctor Who?
So I've seen and listened to all of the first and second Doctor. I left off somewhere in the third Doctor. I can't remember exactly where because all my stuff is at a different location at the moment. But then after that, I've seen a bunch of bits and pieces from all the remainder Doctors, including listening to a lot of the audio dramas, which I guess are canon now. The Eighth Doctor is what made all the audio dramas canon, because I don't remember during the 50th anniversary, there was a little short where the Eighth Doctor turns into the War Doctor. And because of that, some of the references that he drops and all that stuff made the audio dramas canon with the TV show.
That's cool. That's actually really smart to kind of figure that out and finagle that. But oh man, I've been so excited because like buying Pertwee's season. It's weird. Okay, so over here the Blu-rays say John Pertwee season 4 or whatever, and it's confusing as hell because it's like this is overall season 10, but I've been kind of like poking around with each set that I buy and like watching, you know, like a special or like, you know, like a thing here or there. Like I watched, accidentally watched every single episode of Carnival of Monsters. Have you seen that one?
Is that Pertwee?
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten there.
It's like some weirdos.
Oh, wait. Is the Master in that one?
No.
Oh, then no.
Yeah. Like it's nice, like kind of where we're starting right now. Like if we do one of these a week and we have just Hartnell, we'll be done around July, August time, which is like, all right, you know, that's not too bad for each story. And then Troughton will be done by the end of the year, you know? Like it's not too big a time thing. But like once we get to Baker, we'll be here for years. Just going through every story on that. But yeah, do you have anything else you want to add?
Oh, let's see. I did see that, like in the earlier drafts, that Ian and Barbara were supposed to have more of a romantic relationship throughout the series, which I'm kind of glad they didn't do that.
There's still little bits of that. Like, there's still a little bit of, like, she definitely cares for, like, they care for each other. But yeah, they're definitely not, like, banging in the TARDIS or whatever, so.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, I thought it was hilarious, like, when they get, you know, they get into the junkyard after following Susan, and, you know, they lose track of her and all that stuff. And then when they finally get into the TARDIS, they try to convince Susan that she's having an illusion, not them. Which I thought was kind of amusing. I just like the whole idea that even though what they're seeing is happening, they're trying to convince someone else that it is not real.
British, am I right?
It was a very interesting take.
I'm gonna build that a portion of the wall, I think, for my backdrop. Oh, by the way, look at this. I made so for the opening, I had to really trim it down and I like played around with all the visuals and everything that I did to kind of make it fit so that it doesn't get copyrighted. I actually made my own optical for the logo so that I could like do all the stuff behind it and then still kind of get that effect and work with that. It's funny that I went through all this work and like literally the opening now is only like 10 seconds But
hey, at least you get to figure out how they did it.
That's true. I'm thinking every Doctor, I'm gonna try to recreate their intro as best as I can, and it'll get way easier by the time that we get to like Sylvester's, where it's mostly just all digital. But oh my gosh, I looked at Jodie's last night because I haven't watched anything pretty much past Twice Upon a Christmas or whatever it's called. But like hers goes back to the original. I love it. It's fascinatingly good. It's like exactly what they envisioned, but real, you know, like actually traveling through space and all. I love it. But anyway, that's all that we have for this time. Maybe we'll do some more of these. Who knows? We'll be talking about the Daleks next. Which very surprised that they stuck around for as long as they did after this serial. But
I think there was a weird contract thing with the people who created the Daleks and BBC. I think that's why.
They got him. They said, yes, we'll take care of this president in another country, but you have to give us at least 5 stories to let our Daleks run or roam or scoot. We're going to just say that they scoot. Anyway, bye.